Greetings, I'm the Board Gaming Bard, and today we're going to take a look at Forbidden Desert. And in this game, we are adventurers, and we've set out on a mission to excavate an ancient city within the desert. And in this ancient city, there is an age-old flying machine, thousands of years old, a machine that this culture was able to make, that was able to fly. So our goal is to go and find it, bring it home and study it. But before we had a chance to do that, on our way there, our helicopter crash landed into the desert, and now our objectives have changed. Now, instead of trying to find it to study it, we are trying to find it so we can get out of the desert alive. We need to excavate the city, find all the pieces, rebuild this flying machine so we can fly away before we die of thirst or be covered in sand, or the sandstorms consume us and we all perish. So that is our goal in Forbidden Desert. Find the machine, put it back together before we die. So let's take a look and see how it works.
Now here we have the game all set up, and all these tiles get randomized and it's randomly generated every time you play the game. And at the bottom here we have our character cards, and as you can see on the left side we have little gauges to measure how full our canteen is. So from 3, 2, 1, 0 and dead. So when you run out of water, you're going to die. And as you can see, the Explorer actually has a bigger canteen, can fill it up further than the Climber can. But the Climber can move around the board a little easier, so it kind of balances itself out. Now, we all start here on this space here, because that is where our helicopter crash landed. So that's where we all start. We're all, crawling out of the wreckage, ready to go to search this desert for the flying machine so we can put it back together and get out of here. And the flying machine is right here. And it's this really, really neat little model that comes with the game, and it's fantastic. I love this thing. And see, this is the engine. So when you find the engine, you can place the engine right onto the ship. And then the sun crystal, you do the same thing. You put it in the slot, and you physically build the ship, and then you fly away with it. It's fantastic. But now, that's how you win the game. You win the game by scouring the desert to find the machine, build it back together, and get out. And everyone, wins the game. You get out, you're safe, you fly back home. Now to lose, in every co-op game, as usual, there's always several ways to lose. One is when someone runs out of water. So let's say, sun keeps beating down, and you get down to the skull and crossbones at the bottom, you're dead, everybody loses. There is no sole victor here, everyone has to win together. The other way is a storm track. So when the storm picks up, there'll be cards showing that the storm keeps picking up, and it'll keep going up. Oh, and it gets all the way up to Skull and Crossbones. We all lose because we die from the storm. The storm is too overwhelming for us to survive. And you can start at novice, normal, elite, or legendary. We always start at novice. Some, depending. Novice is the easiest one. And the other way is if we get buried in sand, and we have these little, these sand discs here. That's what these are here on the board. And as the storm moves around the desert, the sand keeps piling up and piling up and piling up. And when all of these little sand pieces are gone and we can't lay any more out, we've been buried in sand and we lose. So there's one way to win: build the machine and get out of there. And there's 3 ways to lose: to get buried in sand, to die of thirst, or the storm kills us all because it's too overwhelming. But now, how do you find, the ships and stuff in this thing? Now, the way to find everything is that you do your actions. It's moving around, flipping over tiles, digging through the sand to find what you're looking for. Now, you have 4 actions you can do per turn, and the things you can do: you can move, which is moving orthogonally, so this way, or up or down, except for the green guy, the Explorer, he can move diagonally. And the other action is to remove sand. So taking one of these tiles off of any tile you're on, or any tile that's adjacent to you, or diagonally if you're the Explorer. And because you cannot flip over a tile, which is the third action you can do, is flipping over a tile that you're on. You flip it over and you figure out and you discover what it is you found. But you can't do that until all the sand is up. So, someone moved here, you cannot flip this tile over until he has removed the sand, and then they can flip it over. And that, of course, requires an action. Put that back there. So you can move, you can remove sand, you can flip over a tile, or when you find one of the pieces of the ship, you can pick that up for an action. So those are the 4 actions you can do. We're going to move around the whole desert, digging through the sand, and trying to pick up and find all the pieces of the ship so we can put it together, get to the launch pad, and leave. But we don't know even where the launch pad is yet, so we have to start by moving and digging and trying to get through it. So we're going to go through a few turn orders on how to play the game, how to get through it, and how to survive. I'm not going to go through the whole game, just a few turns, just so you can get a feel of what the game is like. And so I'm going to move these characters out of the way. We're going to say this guy is Neil, and we'll say that this guy is Michael. Just give them some names. Now we start. We'll have Neil start first. So I think he's going to start. He's going to, you take your guy. He's going to move first, and he's going to move here. For second action, he's going to remove the sand, and then third, flip over. He's digging through this. We found the launch pad. That's what it looks like. You can tell it's obvious because all the hash markings around it, but also that's where the ship is. So we got to the launch pad. We found the ship, but realized there's tons of pieces missing. Perhaps we found a schematic, to tell us what it's supposed to look like, how to put it together, and then now we gotta go and find all the pieces. But at least we found the ship. First, we found it right away. So that's promising, and the launch pad's there. So fantastic. And for the 4th action, he's gonna move west. And now at the end of every turn, I've done my 4 actions. So now we have to go through the desert deck to find out what the storm is up to. I'm just going to shuffle it up just a little bit here, and this is what it looks like. It has a compass. The red compass points north, so that's north, south, west, east. If you know your compass, which you should know your directions. So we start out by taking a look at the meter. It's in the yellow here, and it says 2, so we flip over 2 cards at the end of each turn, and when that goes up, you'll end up drawing more cards. And these tell you which way the storm will be moving. It moves in different directions, but also will tell us how hot the sun is. And if the sun gets really hot, we obviously are going to be drinking water. And so it's going to be dropping this down. And when the storm picks up, that's going to show, we're going to demonstrate that here. When the storm picks up, it goes up a notch each time. We're going to have to pick more cards. So, but for now, it's just 2 cards, so we're going to flip over to, the first one is Sun Beat Down. That is one of the worst ones, especially to get freed off the bat. Because when you run out of water, you're dead, and there's only a few ways to get water. But we'll start out here, so each one, that goes down a notch. And the Explorer, if I can get him, he goes down a notch as well. That's a horrible start. Now, next card, please don't be a Sun Beats Down. Okay, now, this means that the storm, which is this here, this is the eye of the storm, the empty space. It's a 5x5 grid, except the center is empty. That's where the storm is. So now the storm's going to move north. Well, this means, actually, technically, it's the eye of the storm is moving south, but this tile here moves north. And then every time a tile moves with the storm, it gets sand on it. Now, if there's ever more than one of these sand tiles on a tile, you put it there, reversible. So you put this side on top of it. If there's ever more than one tile of sand, that tile becomes blocked, and you cannot even go on it. So right now, Neil can go on this tile because there's only one sand, but he cannot go on this. Actually, he can, because the climber can go on any tile even if they're blocked, but everyone else can't. So actually, the thing is, Michael was there when it happened, so he cannot move until he digs himself out. He's covered in sand, and so he needs to dig himself out to be able to continue to move. So those are the 2 cards we drew. I'm going to leave this deck right down here so we can see it. There we go. So that's happened. Really sucks, so we need to find water probably relatively soon, and the way you find water is these oases. You can try and find them. You can tell they're the green, the tree, the grass, and the little water droplet. And on the other side, when you flip it over, it's either going to be a well with water for refreshment and to cool yourself down, or it might be a mirage. There's 3 of these tiles. 1 is a mirage, 2 are actually wells. So it's a bit of a gamble, but you're going to need to find water, so you're going to have to risk it. So now, we're not going to worry about it right now, I don't think, because it's just 1 drop down on our canteens. We can survive for a little bit longer. So now Michael is going to has to start out by removing sand. So for 1 action, he's going to remove 1 of these tiles. Second action, he's going to remove the second. The third action, he's going to flip over and dig in the sand of the tile he's on. And now we see part of the city. You know, it was been covered in sand. We discovered this part of the city. There's a little statue in the center of this little alleyway here. But this is the symbol you want to care about. This is just, you know, beautiful artwork and really shows, you know, the atmosphere of the city, and it's beautiful. But this is the symbol you want to focus on. It's the gear symbol, which means he found something worthwhile. And you take this deck, your gear deck. I'm going to put this down here. So when you get one of those symbols, you found something. It could be anything, some sort of technological device that will help you, you know, pursue it. Even though it's, you know, millennia old, it still happens to work. So Michael gets a terrascope. And terrascopes are fantastic because, you know, you can peek under any unexcavated tile. So any tile that hasn't been flipped over, you can flip it over. And you can peek and see what it is, which is great. In my opinion, when you get this at the beginning of the game, to look under one of the oases to see if there's a well or if it's a mirage. So you don't waste your time going after the ones. You know, that's a mirage. So I'm going to put this up here. This is going to be Michael's little stash of stuff up here. But I actually think he's going to use it right now so we can figure out what it is. So you take it and you discard it. And he's going to peek under this one right here. And it's a well. Fantastic. So we know that there is water right here. So when we go there, we can fill up our canteens. You don't have enough to fill it up fully if you're empty, but you have enough, you know, to sustain yourself for a little bit longer. So he does 3 actions. If the next one, he can move diagonally, he's going to move up there. So he did his 4 actions, and now we look at this again. Oh, still 2, so we pick up 2 cards. Storm picks up. Now, that means the storm is really billowing in, and this moves up tier to 3. And now we pick over the second card again, and the storm moves up 3. But there's only 1 left, so the 1 moves up. That's it. The other 2, the other 2 squares here, you just ignore. The 1 moves up, and sand gets put on it. So now we're back to Neil's turn, and he fell over. All right. So now it's Neil's turn. I think he's going to start, you know, they're separating ways. Michael's going north, Neil's staying south, trying to divide their, you know, their forces. They have radios, you know, so they can contact each other. You know, meet me up at the oasis, because they're going to need to meet here at some point. So they're in contact with each other the whole time, and you're working together trying to figure out what this is. So Neil's going to start by flipping this over. Ah, it's a tunnel. Tunnels are fantastic, because when the sun beats down, like happened on the very first card we got, if you're in a tunnel, it doesn't affect you because you're protected by the shade. So he would kind of want to stay there. And a tunnel also helps you move long distances. So on the bottom left, you see is a tunnel symbol. There's 3 of them. I believe there's 3 throughout, in the whole game. And so you can move from tunnel tile to tunnel tile for 1 move, as long as they're not covered in sand. So if a tunnel tile is up here, I can move from here to here with 1 move, as long as it's not covered in sand. So those are great, but it also has a gear. So I get one of these. Neil gets one of these. And it's the secret water reserve. All players on your tile receive 2 water. That is great. So we don't actually have to turn this over yet, because each well that you get to, you flip it over and you can take the water from it, but you only get to take 2 levels of water. So you can only bring your meter up 2, which in this case would only be 1 because you only have 1 available. But this does the exact same thing without having to go to a well. So now, if we can meet up at some point, we can use this. So Neil's going to keep, his cards right up here. So that was 1. He's going to move here for 2. Turn this one over for 3. Oh wow! So it's a wall. So I'd say that's the edge wall of the city. You can see the mountains in the background. He's found the edge of the city. But most importantly, he found something else of importance. Some sort of technological marvel from the ancient world. Another terrascope. Great. So they can look under any other tile. He's going to save this one, though. There might be something of importance later. They know that there's water there. He has a water reserve. We're going to save it for now. We don't need to look after anything right now. So that was 1, 2, 3, and he's going to move here. He's going to risk it. He's not going to stay in the tunnel. He's going to risk it. He's desperate. He needs to go find some water. Not water, but he needs to go find something else. So he's going to stay out in the sun and hope that it doesn't beat down on him. And this time, if you notice, if you remember, now we're up here in this orangey color. We have to pick 3 cards. First one is, sun beats down. He was foolish. He was an absolute fool. So another one comes down. Now they're really going to want to start getting together so they can... Well, I mean, if Neil wanted to be selfish, you know, the water reserve, he could use it right now, fill himself up, and say, screw you, Michael. I'm going to take all this water for myself. But one person dies, everyone dies, so he's going to save that, and they're going to try and get together. So that was number one. Number two, the storm moves this way, and sand gets put on it. And the third one, it moves back. This time it gets put upside down. The X meaning no one can go on it, except for Mike, except for Neil, because he's a climber. He can climb onto the dunes of sand. So Neil's second turn, Michael's second turn, and we still haven't found anything yet. We found lots of cool gadgets, but we haven't found anything to lead us to the to the pieces we need to build this machine. So Michael's going to start by removing sand and flipping over the tile he was on. Fantastic. So we have a clue. Now we don't know exactly where the navigation deck is yet. I'll put this over here so I can bring it up here. So we found a clue to the navigation deck, and these arrows mean that it is somewhere in this row, somewhere, or column, somewhere here. Yeah, rows, column. So somewhere in this column, we know that the navigation deck is there. And if the storm moves this somewhere else, then it'll move the navigation deck somewhere else. But for now, we know it's here. So you move sand, flip that over, and he's going to move this way and flip this one over. And perfect. We found the engine. And so the arrows are pointing this way, so we know the engine is somewhere in this row, and the navigation deck somewhere in that row. So we need to find one more clue for each to really pinpoint exactly where it is. So for example, if Neil flipped this one over and this was the engine one for the arrows pointing this way, then we just, they merge together and it would be right there. So, but for now, we only know generally where they are. We had a couple clues. And so we're still at 3, so 3 cards get flipped over. Storm moves up 1, but it can't, because it's at the bottom, so nothing happens. And next one moves up 2, again we're at the bottom, so nothing happens. And then moves east 2. Sorry, hit the camera there. So move over 2 and get covered in sand. Right now, Neil's turn once more. Now, Michael probably should have started heading back so they could converge in the middle. But too late for that now. Neil's going to flip this over. And another gear card. So he's going to pick this up. Doom Blaster. Now Doom Blaster can remove all sand from your tile or from an adjacent tile. Now normally you can only remove 1 tile of sand for one action, but the Doom Blaster, without even using an action, you use the card, you use the Doom Blaster, can remove all sand. Oh, just dropped it. Now if there was 5, 10 stacked on top of each other, this card would get rid of them all. So that's great to have, and something we're going to save for later, so when we really get piled, because you eventually will get piled in sand. So I think that was one action. So he's going to start heading over towards Michael. So he's going here for 2, 3, remove that, and 4, flip it, and it's it looks like a castle, steampunkish type castle on top of this huge cliff, and he found something else of worth here, and it is a jetpack. That is perfect. So you can use these gear cards anytime. It doesn't have to be during your turn. It could be any time. I use up his actions, but this doesn't count as an action. He's going to use it right now to fly himself over to Michael. So now they can take a drink together. So he's going to use his water reserve as well. You can use them at any time, and now they both get to fill up 2. 1, 2, and they're both full. They're full of water. Perfect. So there's one less thing to stress about, one less thing to worry about. They can make it a little bit longer in the heat now that they get some more water. So now that was his end of his turn. We got 3 to flip. Storm moves down 1 this way, and sand gets put on it. Next one moves east, but nothing happens because it's already to the left. And the third one moves up. So this moves back the way where it was. And another piece of sand goes on it. Alright, we're not doing too bad actually. Only one sun beach down so far. It's really not that bad yet. But that means that they're all going to be together at the end, which is just horrible. So now it's Michael's turn. Alright, he's fresh, he's full of water, he's replenished, and he's going to head north. Here for one action, flip that for two, and now they have a general idea of where the sun crystal is. And you can see again, the arrows up and down, so it's somewhere in the far eastern column. So it's 1, 2, so you move here 3, and 4. And he found another item. He now has a jetpack, which he's going to save for later. Now, that was his 4 actions. So now we got to go through these again. And these are always stressful. It's going to be move to the west 3. 1, 2, 3. So each one here, here, and here. Oh, it's upside down. So as you see, this is really starting to pile up. It's got 3 on there now. And you can only remove 1 for each action, except for when you use the Doom Blaster. Alright, that was 1. Yeah. Yes, that was 1. So 2. Now move down to 1, 2. And we need some more sand. 1 sand and 2 sand. And then 1 more card. Oh, oh well, that's fine. We're still fully replenished. So you know what? I'm not going to worry about it too much. So we go down 1 and 2. And I'm sorry that it doesn't really focus well when I bring it in. I don't have the greatest video camera. I'm just using a digital camera. I apologize. It doesn't really focus very well. I apologize for that. But hopefully you still get the general idea of what things are doing. So that was the 3 cards. Now it's Neil's turn, and he's going to break off to the south. So 1, 2, 3. Another card. And he has a jetpack as well, which he's also going to save for later. That was 3. He's going to continue going south. Now, 3 more. Of course, I told you they were all going to be together at the bottom. Sun beats down again. So they're going to have to start, thinking about where they're going to meet up so they can get some more water. And now, since the water reserve is gone, I don't know how many there are. There might be some more in here. I don't remember how many there are in the game. But regardless, they're going to have to start focusing on getting to that oasis here, because they know for certain that this one is a well. These 2, they're still not sure, so they're going to try and make it there. For now, that was 2. Is that 3? I think that was 3. I apologize if that wasn't 3. It's hard to keep having trouble keeping track. I think was that 3? Yes, that was 3. Yes, it was. If it wasn't, I apologize. But now it's Michael's turn, and he's going to head here. He's going to remove this sand for an action. So it's 2, 3, and he gets another item. He found a Doom Blaster, which is great. We're going to hold on to that until we're actually surrounded by sand. I'm covered in sand, and he's actually going to go here. Now Neil, first, that's right, we got to do these 3 cards, and this one is move to the west too. But there's only 1, so only 1 has to move, and sand gets put on it. Second card moves to the east 3. So these 3 move over here with sand. And then 1 more back to the west again. The same one's moving around. Here, and sand is really starting to pile up. You notice that sand can really pile up quick, and when all of these are gone, we're dead. So you can't just focus on trying to find stuff. You really do have to start focusing on getting rid of these things. Now, Neil's turn. He's just going to go. Remember, he's a climber. Move to block tiles. So he can move to these block tiles here. Normally you can't. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And now they're together for the next turn, for the beginning of Michael's turn, so they can get some more water. Now, move south 2. Storm's getting close. And sand covers those 2. And moves to the east 1. There's that. And the last one is moves to the west 1. Now, we've only encountered 1 Storm Picks Up card so far. And as you can see, there's not many left. So we're going to be bombarded with storms. So now it's Michael's turn. First thing he's going to do is flip this over to reveal the well they've been looking for. And to take water from the well does not take an action. So without an action, they can fill up 2 again, 2 slots. They're back, their canteens are full, and they're feeling fantastic. Alright, that was 1 action. He's going to go this way for 1, 2, 3. Oh, we found the propeller. 4. Well, we found a general idea of where the propeller is. I'm hoping, so I can show you guys, how you actually find something. I'm hoping we can find something else. We know generally where every single piece is, but we haven't pinpointed one exactly yet. I'm hoping we can do that soon. So that was 4 actions. So we still draw the 3 cards because this tells us to. South 3, but it's all the way at the north, so nothing happens. And south again. This never happens to me. And there we go. The storm picks up. So now we get to move this up another notch. But we're still only picking up 3. See, we're still in the orange area. We'll still only pick up 3. And that was 3. Yes, that was 3. So now it's Neil's turn. He's going to go 1, 2. Sleeve ties are getting in the way. 3. Oh, another tunnel. See, now he can move from here to here for 1 move if this wasn't covered in sand. So now he gets another item. He found a solar shield. This is great. Now you can use this. You and any other pawns that are on the same tile ignore the effects of the sun beats down until the start of the next turn. So you can use this sun shield to cover yourself from the sun. But you know what? We're still pretty full. He's going to hold on to that. So that was 1, 2, 3, and he's going to start heading south. Yes. Actually, he's going to use his jetpack. Because all these are down here haven't been touched yet. So he's going to use his jetpack. He's going to use it. He was here, fly down to this corner, down here, and use his 4th action to flip that over. And there we go. We have found both clues to where the sun crystal is. So this one says it's in this column, and this one says it's in this row, meaning it is right here where they intersect. We found the sun crystal, but now we just need to pick it up and put it on our ship. Fantastic. Now, 3 more cards. North 2. So these 2 move north. Next one, and the storm picks up. I knew it. I told you. This moves up 1, but we're still only doing 3. And then the 3rd one, move west 1. There, and that's really going to pile up the sand. So now Michael's turn. He's going to start out flipping this one over. Not going to bother with this one because we don't need water right now. And it's another item. Not what he was looking for. Now he's really hoping to find another clue as to where these things are. But you know what? You can never have too many of these items. Another Doom Blaster. He's got 2. He can blow sand away from any tile he's on or adjacent to. So that was 1. Go here for 2, 3, and 4. There we go. So now the engine, I'll show it to you here. See, arrows up and down. So in this column, somewhere is the engine, and this one over here says it's in that row somewhere. So they intersect right where he was 2 seconds ago. He walked right past it and didn't see it because his brain just going nuts from the intense heat of the desert. He couldn't find it, but he found it behind himself, and now he's gonna have to go back and get it. So that was flip 1, 2, 3. He's gonna move back. And that's his 4. So now each of them are right beside two of the pieces that they need to rebuild the ship. We're almost halfway there if they can just pick those up soon. So 3 cards again. South 1. And now, and now, see, as you can see, what moved south was this one. It said that this was in the, the second from the top row, but now it just moved south, which means that this engine piece just moved south. Michael was there, and then he moved north, walked past it again, and now, and the storm brushed it around, and now it's back where he was before. And that was 2. Was that 1 or? Was that 1 or 2? I think that was 1, or was that 2? No, that was 1. Yeah, so this is 2. So this one moves this way. And now, again, same thing with the navigation deck. It used to be in this column, and now it's moved. Now it's moved to this column here. And more sand gets piled onto that as well. So, and then up. Sorry, I have to shuffle again. We still have to draw one more card, and we ran out, so we got to shuffle the deck. And then draw the last card. Alright. So for the last one, it is South 1. South 1, and more sand gets put on top. Alright, so those are the 3. Now it's Neil's turn. Of course, the first thing he's going to do for his first action is grab the sun crystal and place it right in the ship. So we get one piece installed in the ship. We're a quarter of the way there. Now for his other 3, he's going to move these. Actually, he's going to move this for... He's going to move here for 1, 2, and then move this for 3. Because you can move sand from adjacent tiles as well. So now, though, we now know exactly where the navigation deck is. It's in this column here, and in this row right there, which means it's right there where they intersect. So we found the navigation deck. That was his 4 actions. So now we draw 3 of these. So it moves to the east 1. So up here moves to the east, and more sand puts on top. Now we're really getting piled down in sand here. We gotta start focusing on getting rid of that sand. Storm picks up again. So now, as you can see, for the next turn, we're gonna be in the 4s. And the sun beats down on us again. Of course it does. But it's been a while actually, so it's not too bad. So we go down 1. See? Actually, dehydration hasn't been too bad this game. And that was 3. So now Michael's turn. First thing he's doing is going 1 and 2 to grab that engine, and we're going to install it right, if I can get it in there, right there. So we're getting there. We're halfway done now. We're halfway done. And now he's going to, you know what, he's going to use, he's going to use his jetpack actually. He wants to go uncover some more stuff. He's going to use his jetpack, fly here. So that was 2 actions. This is 3. And now we know where the propeller is. It's in this column and this row. Intersection point is right there. That's where it is. So that's 3 actions, and for his 4th, he's going to remove 1 of these tiles. So you know what? I think that was a good enough example of how the game works and how you really do feel. Like you're traveling through the desert, trying to survive from dehydration, and find this machine so you can get out and save your life before you die. And that was Forbidden Desert. And I really enjoy this game. It's a really great co-op game. It's quite light. It's something we can pull out and play within 30 to 45 minutes. And it's a really great co-op game and a really great intro game as well. And I don't really think it replaced it. I guess it did replace Forbidden Island to a certain extent. It is more, it flows better. The mechanics are better. But it didn't, for me, it didn't fully replace it because it had a different theme. And
I'm not always in the mood to play Forbidden Desert. Sometimes I want to pull up Forbidden Island just because, exploring a sinking island is, what I'm more in the mood of doing. So, in mechanics-wise, it did replace Forbidden Island, but thematically it didn't at all. It all depends on what I'm feeling. But I definitely agree with a lot of people that the gameplay is definitely much better with Forbidden Desert. And when you're playing it, you really do truly feel, like you're an adventurer digging through the sand trying to find this ancient machine. And it's a really, really great game. We really enjoy playing it. And I definitely recommend this game to anyone, whether you're an avid gamer or a beginner. It's something everybody can play, and I highly, highly recommend it. So this has been Forbidden Desert. And if you want to read my little short story that I've written, all the games that I'll be reviewing and going over, I've done little short stories based on a gameplay that I've done through the game. And I've turned my gameplay into a story to portray the theme and the potential of stories within board games. And you can check that out at boardgamingbard.wordpress.com or on my blog, Bringing Board Games to Life, on boardgamegeek.com. So this has been Forbidden Desert.